And tonight we're talking about Peeping Tom from 1960, directed by Michael Powell. From the letterbox synopsis, the film's tagline, "What made this the most diabolical murder weapon ever used?" Loner Mark Lewis works at a film studio during the day and at night takes racy photographs of women. Also, he's making a documentary on fear, which involves recording the reactions of victims as he murders them. He befriends Helen, the daughter of the family, living in the apartment below his, and he tells her vaguely about the movie he's making. She sneaks into Mark's apartment to watch it and is horrified by what she sees, especially when Mark catches her.
That's kind of a bad description for this movie.
little bit.
Jeez.
I kind of like reading these now because it's like, oh, this is someone's first view of what this movie could be about. My first introduction to this movie was, I remember, looking through that Criterion catalog in the day, and you come across the word Peeping Tom. And I don't know how long that expression has kind of been in the culture. But it's usually, oh, you don't want to be a peeping Tom because it's just you're a perv. Don't be a perv, kids. Don't look over at things. Don't look between fence posts and stuff like that. Right. So this film is sounds very oh, this is about bad stuff. It's about a being naughty.
Yeah.
Being up to no good. So, and then I think it was on Roger Ebert's great movies list. Martin Scorsese talks this movie up quite a bit, talking about how it's a great encapsulation of being a filmmaker. Yeah.
Interesting if true.
Yes. So I'd seen this movie many years ago. It's been a while since I watched it. It's out of print. It's one of those movies that's kind of fallen by the wayside due to Studio Canal, I believe, pulling it out of the collection. And so it's not available on Blu-ray or anything, at least in North America. So we're kind of stuck with the old DVD, which I still have my copy of. I think I wound up getting it used before it went crazy in prices. So anyway, I've always liked this movie. Mostly because of its subject matter. I mean, if I think about Michael Powell, the Archer sort of movies, the Red Shoes, Black Narcissus, which we'll be watching in a couple months here. This movie, just from a subject matter standpoint, just is far more up my alley because it's sort of in that thriller sort of world rather than a drama. So yeah, I don't know what to say. Maybe I'll throw it over to you, RJ, since you have never seen this movie before. What did you think of Peeping Tom?
I think I watched the wrong movie.
Uh-oh.
I was watching a movie with Tom Arnold. Is that the same Tom?
Are you talking about his tapes?
Yeah, his special tapes. No, okay, yeah. So this was first watch for me. Obviously, I thought the title was really fun. I thought it was a super appropriate movie for our Big 50.
Yeah, I mean...
The Dirty 50.
Creeps, preying on women, as we've joked before.
As you've joked before. Don't include me in on that. You and your rape man movies. Some astute listener will go back and find out which episode that's in. But I'll leave it to them. No, yeah, I thought it was very fitting, so I was pretty jacked, and I heard it was not bad, this movie, so I was like, all right, let's go. Let's give it a shot. And as we've said before, this guy is probably the director of the most underrated, underappreciated Criterion Collection film we have so far come across, which is The Red Shoes. Which,
for our episodes.
No, I think just in, I don't know, it doesn't feel like anyone gives that shoes.
No, Red Shoes is Red Shoes is pretty beloved by folk.
Okay, so it's just
actually, as the before mentioned, Martin Scorsese and Roger Ebert, they really like that Red Shoes. But no, here's a little behind the scenes, folks. Red Shoes, for whatever reason, is one of our least listened to episodes, and I don't know why that would be, because in my mind, I think Red Shoes is a fairly well known movie, but maybe no one really cares about Red Shoes much these days. Maybe the Powell Pressburger style has just kind of fallen out. But I know people like Black Narcissus, and I don't know. They're well represented in the Creeps. But anyway, so.
Well, yeah, I just brought it up because I feel like it's a shame because I think we both really dug that movie. and it's too bad that other people might not also dig that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, yeah, I was pretty jazzed about this. I went in there, I watched this bad boy, and I liked it. I thought it was good. I don't think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like I don't think it's gonna change your life or anything like that. Nothing crazy. It's not the most spectacular television event of the century, as other people might say.
Mm-hmm.
No, I liked it. I thought it was cool. I think at the time, because like as I understand, there was a big controversy for the subject matter or whatever. People didn't like these creepy dudes killing people or ladies and such and such. I think at the time I would have liked it more, but I'm a creep like you now, and I'm desensitized to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did still think it was. I did still really like it, and there are certain moments throughout the film that I think they do really, really well. On a whole, I liked it. I thought it was a good show.
A good flick.
A good flick. Yeah, no, I liked it. I just didn't love it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's bad or anything either. There's some pretty cool stuff. I think at the start, it's like the Ziggy Stardust cover. And I was like, that's weird. I think it looks just like it. So I didn't even look at when this movie came out. And I was like, I don't know who's copying who. But that was the one big pull I had. I was like, this looks just like Ziggy Stardust as soon as the movie started.
Yeah. So that's a.
I'll leave that to you to look up.
No, there's like something to that. Like, I don't know if it's just like the English street. Like, it isn't the same. Like, but there's something about the colors. I think it's that painted look because in the Peeping Tom street shot, it's a matte painting, which I think is what you're getting at. Like, I'm looking at it right now, and it's not the same.
It's not, but it has the same feel to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Like when you said it out loud, I was like, yeah, because like I remember like when that shot came up, I was like, whoa, like I forgot about that. That looks so great. And then, yeah, like I would say that like the first 30 minutes of this movie are really good. Like I like thought they were fantastic, and then then it kind of just like
keeps going.
And it's like kind of like it never really goes anywhere super interesting. Like it's just kind of like yep, and then he just kind of knocks off a couple more women. Like he's not like this like sex depraved maniac or whatever. Like he's just not just like killing ladies constantly. It's not like a Elijah Wood in Maniac or something like that. Like it's pretty sedate compared to stuff that would come out of this. Like fuck, like if you're gonna watch some like real rough movies, there's like Angst would be with something like that, or Shram, which really have like real evocative names.
I'm gonna avoid those.
Yeah, those aren't RJ picks, that's for sure.
No, yeah. So anyways, that was my first big pull. But I was gonna say, like, I think there are certain things this movie does really well that eventually got taken over by a lot of other filmmakers. Like one thing I really like was him like filming the discoveries of like the bodies and stuff like that for his documentary. So it's kind of like that idea of like the guys going back to like trying to relive the crime.
It's a cliche
serial killer
now.
memento thing.
Going back to the scene of the crime. That's always the mistake the murderers make.
But like, you know what I mean? It's like that memento thing where like they're trying to like relive because you're trying to get that rush back. I thought that was cool. I thought it was kind of cool. There's that scene where the blind lady feels his heart, and then you just get his heartbeat kind of overdropped on the other audio. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I think people copied that a lot.
Yeah.
There's a red dragon scene in this movie where he's like showing the videos, or it's like the murders are playing and over the blind lady's face.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think fucking what's his face, Tom Harris or whatever, copied this movie.
Well, yeah, this is a movie I think people are probably beat down with in film school. I don't know if necessarily Michael Mann might have seen, like he probably was aware of the movie, and that scene was definitely lifted somewhere along the line from probably this. Like, because even that's like that shows up in Ingmar Bergman too. There's like the one scene of the woman looking at like the video of her own life playing through. It's more symbolic than literal here, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't
Bergman
know.
would have been first, then maybe.
RJ, since you haven't probably taken any film studies classes or women's studies classes, but this film is quite popular when talking about women in film because one prominent feminist film scholar named Laura Mulvey. She wrote this like really iconic paper about like about the male gaze in reference to like film, and this is like kind of the movie that like. Are you familiar with the theoretical idea of like the gaze? Like how like
I think I can piece that
so
together.
I mean it's very like I didn't brush up on this stuff, but essentially boils down to like a lot of like the way culture is dictated is the way we assume things are the way they are because everything we look at, be it like magazines, photography, movies, books, they're all from the like a male perspective, and so we just assume that like, well, this is just the way things are, but like we forget like even like women can get caught up in this way of looking at things. Like basically, women are constantly sexualized in film and like in video and everything like that. So even women are like, oh, that's the way it is. And if you don't stop and think about it and like take a step back, you can just fall into this trap that this is just normal. This is what life just is, rather than this is a construction of the culture that you live in, where like sexualization of women, objectification of women, and like the glorification of capitalism, for instance, they're all just normal in a particular worldview. And when like every movie you watch kind of just goes along with that, TV show, commercial, it's a constant like just that's what it is. That's just the way of life. And so this is sort of like an idea that goes to like I guess fall under the rhetoric of like cultural Marxism, if you will. So it's like pretty commonplace way of people talking about stuff in university. And I think like a movie like this is a movie that like really is easy to apply this theory to, because this movie also embraces that construct too, because it's like you are put into the perspective of the killer, and so you become complicit with the killer. Like there's like this is all like kind of like stuff that I kind of find weird, like not weird, but just like kind of shaky and kind of doesn't prove anything. It's an interesting way of talking about movies because you can apply this system to anything and see what kind of emerges. It's not necessarily what the director was thinking or relevant to anybody else or whatever, what have you, but it's like, oh, I need to write an essay, and this is a fun way of doing it. Because this movie, boy, if you're into that Freud, this movie's got a lot of that going on.
Yeah,
like that tripod leg that like has a knife on the end, and it's just like it's just sticking out all phallic life. And it's like one of the first shots of this movie, it's like it's a close up of the guy's eye. So it's like there it is. The first thing we see in this movie is a man's eye, and then we cut to a woman standing in the street, like being a prostitute. She's just there for you to look at and to debate. Do I want to pay her money to have sex with? And then the next shot is like him like with his camera, which is like kind of like his like penis kind of peeking out of his coat. Like it's like just like these weird little things that you start thinking about that, and like yeah, the movie just plays out that way. But I mean, so Laura Mulvey like laid that groundwork for like thinking about film in this particular way, and this is that movie that like I think she used as like the groundwork for that. I wrote a paper on this goddamn thing, like back in like 2002 when I was like when I was like 19 and like very ill-equipped to talk about this stuff. But I gave it an old college try.
You are gross.
I am gross. So anyway, so I have thought about this movie a bit. Anyway, so the gaze. That's that. I'll just put that out there. It's there, man. That first street shot that you mentioned looks like Ziggy Stardust. When I saw that, I'm like, man, that shot looks amazing. And you just like know immediately, yeah, this is a guy who worked on the Red Shoes, because like it just like has that like the colors are not realistic, but they're very evocative, and they're as good as real, like for a film. And it's cool, and I wish more movies would go down this route. The one thing I liked right off the bat here was the sex worker standing in front of the window. She's standing in front of this window that's like just like essentially a dismembered mannequin woman. So like the
Yeah.
the violent imagery toward women like begins right off the bat with her looking at a window, which is again about display, etc., etc.
You perv.
I know. It's
You.
all yeah. Anyway, I really like the first like half hour of this movie, like I said already, is like really good. There's like no music really, like or it's very minimal music. Like you just see him like filming her secretly going up the stairs and it's all very mundane. Her like boring, like she's very boredly takes off her clothes and then she gets killed. We get the first person point of view and like the whole thing because you're watching it also through a viewfinder. Which like situates you that you were watching a like a camcorder. So I mean, back when you didn't have a camcorder, so you didn't just have like a downgrade found footage style deal. You actually had to designate you were watching raw footage because the viewfinder's still there. And whether or not many people knew what viewfinders looked like in 1960 that wouldn't have used a film camera, they might just be like, oh, that's what that means. This is what it looks like to be behind the camera. Again, putting people back in the position that like they're complicit in these murders. They're allowing it to happen because they're watching it.
Well, yeah. No, yeah, I know what you mean.
And it totally is like I think lifted with Michael Myers in the first Halloween movie.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because it's like the whole going up the stairs, going into the bedroom.
Yeah, there's another one too I just remembered where at the end of the movie it like goes to black and there's like a whisper, someone's like saying something spooky, and I was like, that gets lifted a lot. But then it gets ruined. Like there's a whisper and the fade to black, and then there's like a big bright orange, and it's like dun dun bum. It's just, and you're just like, oh man, that kind of ruins it. But this movie also has, I think, like those other things were things I liked that I feel like get copied a lot, and then it had things that I don't like that are kind of goofy, where it was just like. It's like the victims, they were found and they have like the expression frozen in their face, and it's like, my God, she must have saw something very spooky. Look at her face. And then they find the other victim and it's like, it's the same face. And then it's like he's talking, he's like, do you know what the most frightening thing in the world is? And he's like, it's fear. And I was like, all right, man. Udo Kier light.
Oh my, yeah, that's my note.
yeah, this guy is trying to be Udo Kier so bad.
Well, like I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but like they don't mention that like this guy is German, right? Like,
no, he's not given any well, he's given backstory, but not like his cultural significance.
Yeah, because it's like I'm not sure if I forgot to look this up. If the actor is in fact a German actor, because he has that like Udo Kier, Pierre Lorre vibe to him, and his like weird bulgy eyes, smooth skin, slicked back hair, and like kind of off pronunciation of stuff, which could also be an affectation to maybe play up the Peter Lorre feel. Because this movie fits right alongside an M in the creep zone.
It's a good call.
Yeah. And then, we get to see the footage play out. And it's cool that it's actually the footage that we saw being filmed. Instead of like, even like in the Twin Peaks episode from this week where we saw like the film footage used as like, oh, this is it being played on the screen. Like this is David Lynch making a film and now the giant gets to watch it, which makes sense because there it's like David Lynch world where it doesn't have to make that kind of sense. But like in movies all the time, they're like, oh, we have this like news report footage of this event happening, and all it is like they put a grainy filter on like film footage and it just looks like horse shit. And it's like what the fuck? How did they get these shots? How did they edit this? This is raw footage. Here it's like no, he's playing an old film reel. He would have just turned off the button. It's all in camera editing, and we get to see it all play out again because it's his memento of the event. And then him going back to the scene of the crime to really draw in his handiwork and just relive the moment again. We get to see his side hustle working at a like pervy convenience store where they sell like just on full display photos of ladies, and I love the slimy old British dude coming in for his newspaper and pack of smokes or bread, and then he's like, oh, I understand you have views. And it's like, views? Oh, I see. And he's like, yes, here's the private stash of photos of the ladies that were local girls photographed here. And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll take one of those. Oh, how much for the whole book? And it's like, yep, that's the guy. And then, of course, he goes to pay and he forgets his bread and newspaper because we all know deviants got to deviate.
Yeah, well, haven't you done that when you've had a cart full of groceries and then you buy porn instead?
And then you're like, oh, I don't have enough for my groceries. I'll just get the magazine, please.
Yeah. Put back the butter. Put back the
baby
ham.
chips. Oh, people totally do it too. It's kind of amazing. I believe that's like one of the. I remember like maybe it was like in like sex ed class. Like they're saying, well, if you feel like uncomfortable buying condoms, just buy something else, and it'll just be more normal for you.
Yeah, condoms and then like a big pack of deli meat or something. It's like that's totally normal.
Yeah, my honey ham.
Or a honey ham or something gross like head cheese. It's like, here's your head cheese, dude. Go nuts.
I'd love to find the deli counters that still has head cheese around here.
Andrea's grandpa makes it.
Oh.
He's from old Europe.
Oh yeah, they got that taste for the rank.
He make it the head cheese.
And then going along with that scene, we also get the girl coming in for candy, playing against the creep factor, and then you also get the great question: should I put you on our mailing list?
Oh, yeah, I wish I was on more mailing lists like that.
I can arrange that.
Do it.
Yeah, you'll get all the emails.
Well, what are we waiting on?
Hey, RJ.
Yo.
When you had 21-year-old girls come over to your place in your heyday,
My God.
did you pop out your dad's documentation of torturing you?
No, I have the one though where it's just pictures of me pooping my pants. I feel like it's almost the same effect.
But then you had the footage of like your like at your birthday when you're like 14 and your dad's like, "Hey guys, let's watch a video," and then he starts playing the video of you pooping your pants in front of your friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was weird because like she like demands to watch it and then she gets a little unruly with him. She's like, "Oh, I don't like what I'm seeing here." And he's like, "Well, I didn't want to show you." He's like, "You're the one who asked to watch."
Mm-hmm.
So that was weird, lady.
It's like, why did you want to pop that in? I just don't get it.
Yeah, but she had some weird behavior, like at the end when he's like, okay, quick spoiler, when he's like got that spike right in front of his throat, the actual actress in real life bumps him real good, and he like basically like pokes his own throat. And I was like, God damn, lady, that's pretty risky. Just running into this dude full on when he's got that spike in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was the actress.
Maybe.
She don't give a darn.
So during and then we get to see him go to work and his day job. It's like he's like seems actually pretty like set to go, for a guy in this sort of world. Like in those movies I mentioned earlier, Angst and Schramm, those guys are real fucking losers. Like they're like scumbags. They don't like, oh, I get to live in this like nice little like apartment building that like was just like left to me, and I'm like the landlord, and I got a job in the film industry. Like he's got it pretty good. He's not like a real sad bastard working like, I don't know, a janitor killing women on the side or whatever, or like something like that. He's not really down and out. He's kind of more in the Ted Bundy mode, I guess, but he doesn't have he doesn't exude confidence that I think these type of guys would need to like kind of get away with this, or at least like draw women in. I think like they'd be kind of like, they feel sorry for a guy like this, but I think that they usually it's like, I don't know, people need to be drawn in with some confidence. So come on, aspiring killers, like you really go for broke. Wow, you got to have that wow factor.
Yeah, you got to wow them. Wine them and dine them, like Jarrett would say.
That's right. It's in my manual. So anyway,
Ooh.
the dance number I think is actually really good in this. Like
Yeah.
with the girl, with the woman dancing, she's actually pretty good. I thought that whole thing was played out well. This is a scene where I definitely relate to the killer. Him like going around like setting up the camera, setting up the lights, while the performer just like dicks around and kind of like is distracting and asking him questions while he's obviously trying to light the scene and make sure everything's working properly. I've been there, man. I've done that stagehand stuff, and it's like that sometimes. You're like, come on, just shut up. Just shut up for it right now.
Hey, shut up.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to work here. I'm taking my craft seriously.
Yeah. I'm doing things, man.
Man.
Yeah. Well, that's all gross.
And then there's like, when they find her dead body crammed in that travel
Chest.
case,
Yeah.
I believe it's like after the actress faints, I think the director, does he go, the silly bitch? She fainted in the wrong scene. And I'm like,
Yep.
whoa, that's a hard B right there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I noticed that one too. And I thought you would like that.
Yeah,
Because you're a creep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any excuse.
You creep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the movie just kind of plays out from that point forward. We get the scenes with our lead lady's mom, and her being blind invalid, but also like onto things and questioning things, and just being difficult, not making life easy for old Mark. And I don't know, like there's like I said, I think the movie for its era. For its period of time, I think films would come a long way in nailing this sort of subject material. For this period of time, it's like this movie was like a classy horror movie.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I saw it, or what I imagined it was.
It's like elevating the material to like, it's a Michael Powell production. Like it's like this type of story can be like well done, because I'm sure he was looking at like Hammer horror stuff and kind of going, okay, this stuff's like fucking for children. This is dumb. I'm gonna try to make this movie for adults and make it like entertaining and thrilling, etc., etc. Because so this movie kind of like its sister film would be Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which came out like right around the same time, dealing with sex pests that are killing ladies.
Hey Jared, I don't know if you know this, but you know how this is the sister movie to Psycho?
Yeah.
The lead actor in Psycho is a guy named Anthony Perkins. And his son, Osgood Perkins, that's actually his real name. That's not just a classic zinger. He made a movie that I watched this week. It was good. So I don't know if you knew that, but
I know that, RJ.
True story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that connection, and then I was like, yeah, all right. Okay. I didn't look into it very much. I wasn't going to watch Psycho again.
And like I will say that I do like the twist in the movie, Peeping Tom, the whole like thing with the mirror on it, because I kind of forgot about that. What that? Because it's funny because you Google search Peeping Tom and like you look at the images and it's like this like distorted face. I'm like, what the hell was that from in the movie? And then it gets to the point like, that's what they see when they die, and you get this sort of thing. It's really cool. It looks great. It's a neat idea. I like that Mark just takes like he heroes out. He just fucking goes out on a high note, I guess. Killing himself. He's like, oh well, no fucking around. He doesn't suicide by cop it. He's just like, no, I'm just gonna fucking go for it, man. And after doing horrible things, and that's good. That's like the right thing to do. Don't like clog up the justice system with your bullshit and like, oh, I didn't do it. Oh, my lawyer got me off. Oh, I've been my extension on my trial. Blah blah blah. It's like, no, just kill yourself. Do the right thing. Yeah, that's like good satisfaction, I think, for the most part. Yourself. Just like, get him out of here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of agree with you on that one.
You know it.
Friendo.
Yeah. So you want to hear what Martin Scorsese has to say about how this film, along with Fellini's 8.5, contains all that can be said about directing? Are you ready for Marty's hot take? It sizzles like a spicy meatball.
Well, with that kind of lead in, I guess.
Well, okay. I've always felt that Peeping Tom and 8.5 say everything that can be said about filmmaking, about the process of dealing with film, the objectivity and subjectivity of it, and the confusion between the two. 8.5 captures the glamour and enjoyment of filmmaking, while Peeping Tom shows the aggression of it, how the camera violates. From studying them, you can discover everything about people who make films, or at least people who express themselves through films.
I kind of agree with what he's saying, but not for those two films. I think everything you need to learn, you could learn from the 1990 classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then Sister Act, starring Whoopi Goldberg. That has every side of cinema that you could need. So, no wonder Martin's movies haven't been performing as well as they used to. Mm-hmm. Am I right?
The other thing that goes along with talking about Peeping Tom is its reception from Wikipedia. Peeping Tom was an immensely controversial film on initial release, and the critical backlash heaped on the film was a major factor in finishing Powell's career as a director in the UK. British reviews tended towards the hyperbolic in negativity. Derek Hill, reviewer of the Tribune, suggested that the film should be disposed of, thrown into a sewer. Yet, in his view, its stench would remain. Len Mosley, writing for the Daily Express, claimed that the film is more nauseating and depressing than the leper colonies of East Pakistan, the back streets of Bombay, and the gutters of Calcutta. It was banned in Finland until 1981. But however, the film earned a cult following, as always happens with these sort of things, and since the 1970s has received a critical reappraisal. Powell noted ruefully in his autobiography, "I made a film that nobody wants to see, and then 30 years later everybody has either seen it or wants to see it." That's how it goes, boy. You never know how this film game's going to go. I think it's it's a weird movie though. Like, you look at his filmography and his kind of interest and taste, and this movie kind of is like an odd film. Like, it's very like it's in the Nightcrawler mold more than anything. If someone would say it would fit right on a list of sad bastard and loser films.
Such a list would be a pretentious and self-pitying type of thing. Anyone associated with such a thing is a bad person. So I would avoid those.
Yeah.
People might not know what we're talking about. I'm making fun of Jarrett. Go to the letterbox to find out how.
Yes.
Yep. Hey, there's a scene in this movie where the detective or something is trying to tell someone to go take a memo, and he says it go get a memo. I wrote it down because I was like, I can't believe he said that.
Yeah.
What is he, a fucking weirdo? A memo. Memo. That's the kind of insight I got. Hot take, baby.
Indeed. Hey, I'm just looking at some trivia for this. Peeping Tom is referenced by Ghostface in Wes Craven's Scream 4 as being the first film to put the audience in the killer's POV.
Shut up, Wes Craven.
Oh, wait, here's one for you, RJ. During a reminiscence in David Foster Wallace's novel Infinite Jest, Dr. James O. Incandenza, whatever the fuck, the man who went on to make a film that literally kills its audience, refers to having still posters from Powell's Peeping Tom in his childhood bedroom.
Shut up. I hate that. I hate that, and I hate you.
DF dub.
Nobody has ever read fucking Infinite Jest. Nobody. Mm-hmm. Anyone who says they have are fucking lying. I hate that, and I hate you.
Okay. Also throw in, this film fell under censorship when it came out from Italy.
What?
Yeah, and when it was released in Italy, it got edited because, it's not very Catholic, RJ, and you would know it. Maybe that's why you don't like it as much, because you're a good Catholic boy.
Yeah, but those Italians make all those fucking gross movies.
The film was restricted, not suitable for children under 16. I'm not sure what 15-year-olds would get out of this movie, but the reason for the age restriction cited in the official documents is the storyline is shocking and several scenes are not suitable for minors. In order for the film to be screened publicly, the committee imposed the removal of the following scenes: 1. 2 scenes taking place in the photographer's studio. In particular, those in which Millie is shown alone, fully dressed and half undressed, in front of the mirror because she is indecent. 2 other scenes showing a woman lying on the bed excessively half undressed because she is indecent.
Damn.
Remember, these were the good old days. You know, I went to the Pride Festival here in town over the weekend. I was there for like a half hour or so. I think it's not my scene. People, it seems to be a like, I don't know. People dress really badly at Pride. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Yeah, people dress very poorly. They need to learn how to dress themselves a little bit. Like adults, come on, people.
How badly?
Well, I'm not even talking about like, you know, the big like giant fat guys walking around in like leather cables and stuff like that and strappings, like whatever. Like, let your freak flag fly, I guess. But like, I don't know.
No.
Cut your carbs. Do a sit up. You know, you're in public.
Unbelievable.
You know, maybe sometimes like less is more, you know.
Hey, Jarrett.
Yeah.
Your anti-Pride agenda is going to bring down this show.
My screed.
Yeah, it's you've done it before with all your other anti-agendas, but
yeah,
this might be the one that kills us. As Creepsville is not only the home of the very first gay and transgender crosswalks in the world, it was also the home of the very first vandalized and torn apart crosswalk, gay and transgender crosswalks in the world. So.
Well, a mere 25 minutes away, the first Pride flag in Tabor, Alberta, that bastion of wokeness. Someone stole the flag and then they put a second one up, and someone took that one down and set it on fire. And then they put a third one up. And then in Lethbridge, they put the first trans flag ever in the world was put down as a crosswalk. And then someone drove over it, but like then skid marks on it and stuff like that. And then someone tarred it, which was really cool. And then I guess like the way to remove tar is to, I guess, put like manure on it. And then of course people thought that the vandals put manure on it because that would make sense, I guess. Because science. Anyway, Peeping Tom, huh? Pride flags.
Pride flags, Peeping Tom, and Jarrett Duncan. Three things have never clashed more in the world.
Yeah, learn to dress better, folks. I know it's hot out there, but come on, don't look like pieces of shit.
I feel like you're addressing me with this statement.
But yeah, Mr. Tank Top.
Hey, I was going to a pool. Totally acceptable in that sense.
This is why I don't want to go. Oh, man. People are. Ugh.
It's okay when you go to the pool to wear a tank. I don't wear it like to fucking work.
I was just listening to another podcast where they were talking about like how they when they go to a pool, they like make sure they're not the fattest guy there, and then they go, oh, it's okay, that guy's fatter than me. I'm good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also adhere to that strategy. Before you pop your top, you got to make sure you're not the only one rocking some fudge.
Words to live by. I think that was actually in Peeping Tom.
It might have been. That's what they whispered over the credits.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on the movie before I talk about who hates this movie?
No, not really. I liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I liked it.
Some guy here named Lanny or something like that. He gave this movie 1 star, saying, "Imagine finding the main asshole sympathetic. I can't relate."
Oh, come on. He acts like that's like a novel thing. Like there's never been a movie where you root for the bad guy.
Watch Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, folks.
What was that one thing we talked about the other day? Something fun. Can't remember. Watch that.
Yeah, there's lots of movies.
Watch that.
User named Gore Master. He gave this 1.5 star. This film is acclaimed as one of the best thrillers in history and deals with voyeurism. I expected something terrifying, but that's not what I saw. I got very disappointed, perhaps because it suggests more than it shows.
Ugh.
Man,
what does that mean?
Sorry, Gore Master.
The Gore Master. Hey, can you look at what that guy's favorite movies are?
Oh, I should have. Fuck. I'll look it up here.
Okay, you keep going. I'll look it up.
Go find Gore Master.
I'll look it up.
One
You
word.
keep going.
Okay. The Heath. He gave this movie 2 stars, and he writes, disappointing 60s slasher essential that may have broken boundaries at the time, but is horribly dated now. Some elements work, it's certainly creepy enough, but too many other factors are paper thin and flimsy, allowing any hope of true terror to be put to bed early. For horror enthusiasts, don't expect anything grisly or overly shocking. But for its flaws, it remains a creepy watch that sadly has been ravaged by darker and more dastardly pictures. So the vibe I get from a lot of these is people like being let down that this movie's not like extreme. Which like I was like, well, if you've ever watched a Powell Pressburger movie, I kind of knew what exactly to expect. And I'd say like for that type of movie of that taste, this movie's like pretty edgy. Like it's a little, it's darker. I don't know. It's like M doesn't have people complaining about it like this, and it's not like M's like super disturbing or anything either. Like it's pretty like it's just like a really well made movie.
I think that probably stems out of that hype machine where they hear that this movie almost ended a guy's career, so they probably go into it like, oh yeah, that thing's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, fucking bitches just get torn up and stuff. I heard. And it's like,
Yeah.
Okay, Gore Master.
Hey, I found his favorite movies.
Okay, hit me with Gore Master.
Okay, well, there's a good one in there. His number one is Hellraiser.
Sweet.
So that makes sense for the Gore Master.
Pretty gory.
And then you'll like these: Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom.
Yeah, it's got
Star
gore in it.
Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Oh, Gore Master, get out more, okay?
Gore Master Strikes Again. I'm looking at his other 5 stars, and it's like Pixar movies and
what?
Indiana Jones, Cape Fear.
Does this guy still review movies?
Is
he active?
His last rating was a couple days ago.
Okay, so he
logged She's All That. he gave it 1 star, and then he gave Crash 3.5 stars.
Which one?
Actually, not the Paul Haggis Crash. Never mind.
The David Cronenberg Crash.
Yeah. Sexy Crash.
Sexy Crash.
But yeah, he also gave Interview with the Vampire 5 stars. So, I mean, he's got some street cred. Okay. But also Shrek and Shrek 2. Okay, I'm getting off of his page. We've had enough of Gore Master.
All right. Sucks to you, Gore Master. Anyway, I think that's it for this movie. I thought I like this movie. But I can definitely I don't know.
It's there.
Time has maybe softened this movie's edge, I guess.
It's possible.
No, whatever.
Oh, you're laying down a classic RJ zinger.
Yeah, whatever. Belch. Fart.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't watch movies.
I'm gonna go to the pool.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you gotta cool down, baby. Cool down.
It's like 33 degrees outside. God. Anyway.
Exactly.
After the break, I'm going to stab myself in the throat with my tripod.
Oh,
you're on your own,
gross.
RJ.
Okay, that's fine. I'll be the band, dude.